Back in open session, Board Secretary.
The GM's going to read it today because there was the
He's a little hoarse.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay. This portion of the agenda allows an individual the opportunity to address the board on any item not on the agenda regarding district business. State law prohibits the district from taking any action on any items not on the agenda unless authorized under section 54954.2 sub B of the government code. And your matter may be referred to the general manager. An individual may also address the board on any agenda item at the time the matter is discussed and prior to the board's consideration or action. Speakers will be limited to 5 minutes. Your time will start when you approach the podium, and you will be given a 30-second warning before your time expires. If you choose to ask a question during this time, any response by the board will not extend your time. Questions may be referred to the general manager to be answered at a later time after the meeting in order to allow for a smooth and orderly meeting and allow each speaker the ability to address the board. Disruptions from the audience will not be tolerated, and we may be asked to leave. We appreciate your cooperation in this democratic process.
Thank you. This time we'll open up for public comments that are non-agenda items. Come up to the podium, please.
My name is Wade Hatcher. I've been in Rosamond for 30 years. Matter of fact, every one of you gentlemen I voted for. I'm sorry to say that that was a mistake, but I'm going to tell you something real quick and we'll get out of your way. This commentary is not for Mr. Singledecker or Mr. McKay. It's for the other 3 gentlemen on this board. Gentlemen, do you guys realize there's a drought in California statewide? Obviously not, because you wouldn't apply to get a park system with take millions of gallons of water. I personally think that you should resign your posts and allow people who know what the heck they're doing to run this organization. I lived here 30 years, and this is the most disgusting behavior I've ever seen from elected officials. I worked in the prison system for 8 years, and believe me, there's better people there than are on this board. And you, Mr. Ron Smith, I happen to know for a fact you were pushing that parks deal. That's not your job. Your job is to make sure that I've got my water at a reasonable rate. You stay out of Rosamond politics until you move here. Then you feel free to shoot your mouth out any way you want. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else like to make a comment? All right. No other comments. We're going to move on to our minutes. M1 approval of February 6, 2018 regular board meeting minutes. Can I get a motion? So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. McKay, second by Mr. Williford. Any comments or questions? Call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Move on to consent calendar. CC1. Can I get a motion?
So moved. Second.
Moved by Mr. McKay, seconded by Mr. Williford. Any public comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
It is unanimous. On CC2, we have a related party. Mr. Lancaster will be stepping down because his brother and sister-in-law own Carl's Art.
Thank you, Mr. President. That's correct.
All right, on CC2, can I get a motion? Second? Second. Moved by Mr. McKay, seconded by Mr. Glenn. All those in favor? Aye. Approved. 4, 1 abstain. Mr. Lancaster, could you come back in? All right, moving on to new business, MB1, approve the district's branding, mission statement, and goals. The presenter is Mr. Ronald Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Schiefeldecker. So for the audience too, we're going to go over, I always like to sort of present what branding is. Sometimes people think branding is just this logo, but it really is who we are. My definition of branding is it's the promise and expectations positioned in the minds of the target audience, which is the community of Rosamond. So how we got there is you first, before you brand yourself, which it could include a logo, a tagline, a mission statement, goals, you have to decide where you're going and which direction you are. But it comes from the heart. So this is a catalog of a BMW. So it says all the technicalities of BMW, how great it is. You know, you get every little detail you want to know about a BMW. But that's not how you communicate. If you're selling a BMW or selling the RCSD or selling anything, you communicate the same way. You got to get to people's hearts and minds. So this is how you sell a BMW. BMW is not just, what do people say a BMW is? It's the what? The ultimate driving machine, right? So the RCSD had to sit down and say, who are we now? Where do we want to be? What direction we want to go to get there in the next 5 years and in the future? So the first thing we did was we sat down with the board's idea. We had public meetings, and the board said, this is our hearts, this is what we believe, and this is what we think is important for the RCSD. Fiscally sound, superb customer service, top quality, secure water source, quality services, and trust in government. There's 4 things that you have to put within a mission statement that good mission statements are. The first one is, what do we do? How do we do it? Whom do we do it for? And what value are we bringing? So the first one, we bring a better quality of life by providing essential services at the best cost for our community of Rosamond. The community's resources and money are prudently managed and protected. So now we put that and encompass that into one statement. Our core mission is to bring a better quality of life to our community of Rosamond by providing essential services at the best cost while striving in everything that we do to be protective and prudent with our community's resources and money. So then from there, from that mission, we start with the ideas, the soul of who we are. We come up with a core mission statement, and then we build goals around that mission statement. So the first one, protect and preserve. We strive to make every decision based on fiscally sound policies and best practices to ensure that the money and resources are managed prudently, protecting the investment that people have made in their community. The next one, transparency and trust. Building trust from the community is an ongoing process where we function as an open book, not only following the laws of open government, but maintaining complete transparency while encouraging public participation and oversight. Safe and sustainable. Providing the safest and highest quality water possible, it is our dedicated obligation to secure sustained water sources at the lowest rate achievable, bringing life to Rosamond. Commitment and care. We are committed to providing the best level of customer service with a caring and friendly attitude, working towards building the community's confidence in us and the job that we do for each and every customer. And lastly, value and vital. That's a good ringtone.
Shut off.
Now, do I have to pay for the copyrights because we got the music going on the presentation there?
Less than 30 seconds.
I got to pay that. Less than 30 seconds. I'm good. No problem. Okay, we endeavor for excellence in providing vital services to Rosamond because we know that the community needs and values the best quality of life possible. When Kodak talked about their product, they talk about not what great paper they made or great film. They talk about that we make memories. It's something that, so you have to look at the core. And what do we do here at Rosamond? We bring life to Rosamond. So that's the new brand. The green represents life. The blue represents the water, sustaining water that we bring here, along with other services. This is the logo right here. And the color's not good on that screen. Trust me, it's a good color green. Color monitors, those things are never really good.
Where's the green?
Yeah, I know. It's everything that looks brown, just call it green.
Oh, yeah, the black stuff.
Yeah. And that's what it would look like on the side of the truck. Bringing life to Rosamond Community Services District. Rosamond is in, the next phase of its life. We've been fiscally sound. We had a great audit. We're moving in good directions, and this shows to the community that what we stand for with a new mission and a good set of rules. So if you have any questions, board, please ask. Do you get a hat?
Yeah,
And a shirt?
no, I don't want the shirt.
Okay.
Ballpark figure, what's it gonna, rebrand all of our equipment?
We put in the budget, I think, $60,000, and that would be for the monuments, for everything else, but I think we're gonna, been talking to Science and Designs, they're gonna give us a good deal. I think getting the trucks done is not, how much of the stickers usually cost us?
We can get stickers for 5 vehicles for roughly $100.
So the vehicles will be the first
You
thing.
can afford the hat.
I can afford that. Of course, you have an in-house graphic designer, and so I'll be doing all the stationery and sending them business cards and doing all that, so we can send them to the normal printing that we normally do. The only thing that's going to cost more is maybe the monument sign. I'll probably leave the one on the building because I think it's nostalgic, because the building was dedicated with that logo instead of with the panel. I think that's a good idea, but it shouldn't. I think we should do it we should be able to do it for a lot less. But I'll brief you guys as we go through. The only thing I see the big expense is the monument sign, but that might only be a couple $1,000. So we might be able to get everything for $10,000. We budgeted 60 because there's a lot that involved. But, yeah, so it's good. The car stickers were a lot cheaper than I thought.
Any other questions? All right, so we'll look.
I move that we approve the district's branding, mission, rules, and statements as presented.
Second. Okay, moved by Mr. Lansgard, seconded by Mr. McKay. Do we have any comments from the public on the presentation? Yes, sir. Come on, podium, please.
She can stick it to this.
You say, we'll try to hear it.
Why do we need it? Our trucks got already logos on them. Why do we need something new?
It's communicating with the public. It sends a new vision,
We've got it there. I know what they are.
Yeah.
Couldn't we save money by
Not
leaving
doing
it for
it?
another year or two?
That's always an argument on the other side, but it's always, things like this is always good to communicate with the public. It's like anything else.
But
Right.
you mean what's on there now isn't communicating?
From a psychological standpoint, the new vision, the typography, everything sends a different message than what is on there now.
So we have to send one saying we're rich.
What's
Can
that?
they introduce themselves
Well-
with the questions?
Can I jump in on this?
Sure, absolutely.
I get calls at least once or twice a month about why is RCSD truck over here dumping water, or why is he over here? And Brock hears from me, and it's AVAC. So we want to make ours different than what the AVAC. Right, and
Yeah,
they're
they're pretty
almost
close.
identical.
Yeah, they're pretty close. It seems, from a distance, they look very similar.
It'll give a better identification. If you see the vehicle, you'll be able to identify it as RCSD and not maybe someone else.
So it's good communication.
Well, I just mailed poor Brock the other day. He says, no, that wasn't us, they're dumping the water. And what it is, it's a sample port that they have.
HADEC is he's a wholesale water provider here in town, Ammo Valley East Spring Water Agency. So, yeah, we need to have a distinction between
And they look a lot alike.
Any other comments? We'll call for the vote. All those in favor of approving the district brand?
Aye.
Opposed? 0. Unanimous. We'll move on to new business 2. Discussion regarding the meeting time for closed session. Mr. Smith.
Yes, at one time your closed session was at the back like a lot of agencies are. And because there's sometimes the break time and there's the lag. And also if you have a little bit more protracted discussion, you might want to last a little bit longer, but because you don't want to make the public wait at 7 o'clock, you can take a break and go back. And I think when you first switched it over to the beginning, this board was having some very long closed sessions. That's not what you have anymore. So the suggestion was that staff thinks and the attorney thinks that we should move it to the back again and start the meeting at 6. And if you have to go in closed session, you do. If you have to talk for an hour and a half, you have an hour and a half, you have 2 hours to talk. And then that way it's at the meeting.
Well, I think the standard meeting time is always at 7. You could have a closed session, you should be after. If you have the meeting, we should still start at 7.
If you want to start it at 7, you can start it at 7 also, either way.
Part of the reason it was changed to 6 is for the transparency of the community, because they don't want to go through the entire meeting and then have to sit and wait for us to come out of the closed session and hear the report of the closed session. That was one of the complaints that was received
Right.
when the time was changed.
And as you can see, you've been sitting here now for a couple of years, or what, 3 years now, or about 3.5 years. And you can see 99.999% of the time it's attorney says no reportable actions, or taking instruction, and that's it. So it's very rare. If you have something that you think is going to be heated, where on the face itself the closed session is very controversial, or something's up, where people are going to want to come and speak before that, you can always set a special meeting for the closed session, correct?
Yes.
And then you can have that and say, we're setting this at a special time because we know people might want to, even though they're not going to hear what goes on there, they want to be part of that. So it's up to you guys either way, but we just suggested for it goes a little bit smoother when it's like that.
I'm fine with the meeting starting at 6 and then the closed session.
I would say we're waiting for this closed session first, and then the public, find out what we've accomplished.
Mr. Limesguard, anything else to add?
I actually kind of agree with Dan that we haven't had that many closed sessions, and we still have them at 6, and the public gets divided at 7.
It really doesn't matter to me if we go into closed session and we close the closed session, go to the open meeting, and then have if we need to have a closed session after.
Yes.
You
You can recess the closed session.
Yes.
I don't care.
Okay, just put it on there as a discussion item, just in case.
Right, no action.
This is something that had come up before. Okay, so no action.
All right, moving on to MB2 is also discussion and action regarding a waiver for the current Southern Kern Unified School District connection fees. Mr. Smith.
Yes, back in, I don't have the date here, I think it was June 11th, 2008. Actually, I think it's June 11th, 2008.
2007.
I've got it.
March 19, 2008.
March 19th, 2008. Okay. Oh, yeah, that's right, and then.
They voted on it June 11th.
Yeah, we voted on it June 11th. So that's when it was suggested, but it was voted on June 11th. There was a waiver for connection fees of $140,000 for the school district. There were a couple things that were different back then. One is they were going to connect to the system because for emergency purposes only. And now they have been connected to the system. We charge them just like we would a construction meter. So they're paying for the water they're using. They had to take down their tanks. They had some re-piping to do, so they're back. They can be back on their wells. But as you know, the school district is also part of the arsenic consolidation. So they're going to be connecting permanently now. And so the idea is those, as you know, we've had this discussion before, those impact fees are there because of the demand that they're going to put on our system. We need those impact fees to future, and the state has already said that you're going to take those impact fees and we're going to build a water tank and a new well to take care of the systems that we're taking on. The school system is the largest demand of our water. It could be 150 acre-feet a year compared to the other small districts that we're taking in. And since the state's going to be paying for it now, they're permanently connected to the system. We need to undo the waiver. I've already talked to the superintendent. He knows the reasons why. He knows that they're connecting. And they might do some hybrid they're talking about of doing half the system and half the wells. That's between them and the state of California. So we just need to undo that so that when the state comes in, the state's going to pay the connection fees so we can build our infrastructure. Yes?
For fiscal impact, the $405,000, is that what the estimated bill for them for the amount of water that they would use?
Correct. And the state already has that spreadsheet of all the impact fees, all the water acquisition fees, and the state is well aware of what they're going to have to pay.
How soon will the state be connecting?
We're not, and it would be us connecting, but we have to get the grant. We're right at the very tail end of getting the construction grant.
Okay.
But we had to go,
But the bottom line, it's not gonna cost the school district anything for
No.
us to go ahead and revoke the waiver and go forward.
And the connection can happen overnight.
they're connected right now.
It's already I mean, there's no more money to be spent there.
Right, correct. Yeah, all it is like switching it on. Now, if they do some hybrid of irrigation with their wells and potable water with us, you know, they're gonna have to build a whole new, you know, disconnect their systems in different ways. They're talking to the state about that. They haven't decided yet. They might completely connect to us, or they might want to keep some of their wells. It depends on what, and it also depends on what the state decides, because if you remember, they're under the state. They're run by the state, and the state might say, nah, we're gonna do it this way because that's gonna cost us. It's gonna be the water boards that make those decisions. But they're talking about that right now.
Any other questions?
All right, Mr. Glenn, you got a gymnasium over there, you want to make a motion on this one?
So moved.
I'll second it.
Any comments from the public? With no comments from the public, I'll ask for a motion to approve and give direction to the manager to move forward.
So moved.
Second.
Approved by Mr. McKay, seconded by Mr. Williford. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Moving on to director's comments and reports. We'll start off with Mr. Glenn.
I'm kind of beating the dead horse, but every Sunday in Antelope Valley Press, there's a section about Kern County, Rosamond, and it's not an opinion section. He gives you clear facts, and there's some in here about homeschool, that's been out in the community, and there's some in here about trains. And it's not just an opinion about the trains, but facts about trains and train wrecks that we had recently and so on. So it's a Kern County report every Sunday in the Antelope Valley Press.
Page 4.
Page 4.
Mr. Beaver.
Good reading.
Thank you. Mr. McKay.
I attended 2 meetings. One was with Antelope Valley East Kern Water District, and we were told that the supply is going to increase by 5% to a total of 20% of what they're authorized. And the second meeting was a joint meeting between AVAC, Little Rock Irrigation District, and Palmdale Water District. It's the 3 state water suppliers. AVAC made a presentation to the other 2 water suppliers about a program that they're trying to bring in. As you know, there's 148,000 parcels in AVAC's district that will have a hard time getting water. They go through the water master, the water master, you know, there's a safe yield for the aquifer. And if all of these come in, then the safe yield is going to be ruptured. We're going to go down. So what AVAC is planning on doing is bringing in imported water, and when somebody builds a house, there's 19 people right now that have homes but they don't have water. There's one that's, they built everything, and then when they went back to get their the permit, they were told they had to go to the water master to be able to do a well. And so what they're doing is AVAC is going to provide 1 acre-foot of water for these people that want to use it. They'll have to drill their own well and they'll bring it out of the ground, but AVAC will be putting it into the ground. And so this is what the joint meeting was all about, and there was no action taken. It was just so that they could bring it up to the other 2 districts to try to get them to go along with what they're proposing. And then I would like to talk about this flyer that you all received. And there's a lot of outsiders that have interfered with Measure A proposition. And
It is not appropriate from the dais. If you want to step and speak on public comment
After, yeah.
after director's comments, that would be fine. And President Schiegel-Decker would be appropriate to reopen public comment after director's comment to allow Director McKay to speak from the podium.
Mr. Lancaster.
Thank you, Mr. Singledecker. I have no meetings to report on.
Mr. Wolford?
Nothing at this time.
I don't have anything to report, but I do want to say welcome to everybody. Glad to see you here. General Counsel.
Reminders to turn in your Form 700s. You will keep getting this reminder until April 1st. And maybe beyond if you don't guess.
General Manager, do you have any more updates for
Yeah,
us?
just to tag on what Ed was saying, we've got the agenda for the Water Master this afternoon. And we have the Water Master Advisory Committee meeting tomorrow at 1 o'clock at Quartz Hill, not 2 o'clock tomorrow. And one of the things on there is the well application process, the 30 days, and then the Water Master is going to adopt it. But I think they're trying to help out those well people faster.
Well, can I just interject something?
Sure,
there?
sure.
The 148,000 parcels, if they can't get water, their property value is going to plummet to zero. Why would you buy a piece of property if you can't get water?
One of the things also, as you know, we talked about last time that we won in court to get the ramp down. One of the things that is being discussed is how do you still calculate that front number? So there's, the other side is calculating it. The judgment actually says it's the water that was produced before the signing of the judgment for beneficial use, excluding return flows, and then it goes on. The engineer has decided that excluding means to figure out what a return flow would be at that time by how much state water project water you use and subtract it from your production number. Our side is saying exclude means exclude. That means don't include it. And that number doesn't include return flows. She's published the number, it was out today. Take, for instance, for us, even if they take our return flows, we weren't using much state water. She's calculated, even if she calculates the way it is, she's done the math wrong. She's done the 1 year and did 39%. And as you know, return flows calculated on a 5-year rolling average, and then you would do that. But for somebody like Quartz Hill, they get no ramp down, by the way she has a calculation. So we'll see how the next meeting goes. We're going to talk about it tomorrow at the advisory committee. Chad will be there, of course, from Quartz Hill. I'm sure he's going to have something to say about it. So that's where we are on that. So that's a new one. But I can say, either way, whatever comes out, we're still looking good.
And if the water master meeting still, the last...
The 29th.
29th, yeah.
I think it's the 29th. Yeah,
28th.
28? Okay.
You're talking about the advisory committee.
The advisory committee is tomorrow, yeah, and then it would be the next week would be the water master at 10 o'clock at ADA.
In the absence of Mr. Howland, do you have anything to report for?
Nothing for him. It was his daughter's birthday today, so him and his wife are going to do it.
All right.
And Brock can catch up on anything else.
Director of Public Works, Ronald Smith.
Thank you. Just one important update. I attended the Antelope Valley Integrated Regional Water Management Plan meeting last week. Part of that is updating, what they're working on right now is updating the Integrated Regional Water Management Plan that we started in 2009. This board adopted the plan in 2014, but now it needs to be updated to meet new standards. They're currently drafting an MOU. It's not ready for us yet, but sometime in the future we'll need to approve and sign that MOU. There's a cost share portion along with that. Rosamond's portion is 1.5% of the total cost of $345,000. So over 2 years, we will be required to pay $5,308. And what that IRWIMP allows is the Antelope Valley region access to Prop 1 funding for grants. So far, this plan has brought $10 million in grant funds into the Antelope Valley.
Now, will Kennedy James be doing that for us?
No. Kennedy James actually did the IRWIP, not for us, but they're probably, I mean, AVAC uses them. They come really highly recommended. They're our engineer now too. And we're also, Rock went to the IRWIP formation meeting for the Fremont Basin. Because as you know, part of us is in the Fremont Basin. I'd love to get a well in there. And that would be nice. So we're still looking for that, and so we're part of that. The IRWIP can be beneficial. I think what we need to do is we need to leverage our position. If you guys accept it, we'll bring the MOU back to you. You can decide whether you want to or not. But if we do, then we need to leverage that. But for $5,000, we can leverage that IRWIP and try to get grant money for ourselves also.
Also, along with that, the Fremont Basin IRWIMP, currently their boundaries, it doesn't match the basin boundaries. It's a set region boundary based on watershed. Our district does not fall within the Fremont region boundaries, but it does meet the basin boundaries. There is talk of realigning those region boundaries where our district will be included, but there will be no cost share at this time for that IRWIMP plan.
Any questions? All right.
It'll be agendized. I think they're going to come out in April with the
Yes.
the MOU, and then that'll be on the agenda once it comes out.
President Shingle-Decker, it would be appropriate to reopen public comment at this time. We're finished with.
Yeah, first we'll ask our Director of Administration if she's had anything to add. At this time, we'll reopen public comments. Mr. McKay.
As you know, most of you received this flyer that's full of misinformation. And what I'd like to do tonight is I'd like to address this flyer. There's a lot of outsiders who have interfered with Measure A proposition. I have a copy of the Fair Political Practices Form 400 that shows that the person that's filed this and the treasurer do not live in Rosamond. They're outside of Rosamond. The flyer itself was sent out. Again, it's full of misinformation. The first misinformation to be dealt with is that the board did not authorize this measure for the ballot. This is one of the things that we see written in some of the political things that were sent out, that the board authorized this Measure A to be on the board. Let me explain something to you. The Rosamond Community Service Board is made of 5 directors. The majority of the board voted to put the measure on the ballot. 2 members of this board voted against the measure. The proper terminology would have been the majority of the board voted to put this on the ballot, not the board. We have directors on the present board who do not receive any services from the district. Let me put it another way, so you can gain an understanding. When they vote to increase your rates, they will not be affected by their votes to raise rates because they don't pay for any services. One of the things that the people of this district need to hear and heed is the fact that when candidates run for the office of this board, you have to ask them, do you get services from the district? And if they say no, then why would you vote for somebody to put them on the board who's going to raise your rates and don't have to pay them themselves? Okay? The law needs to be changed so that only ratepayers can be elected to the special districts. And so one of the things that I found out that the ballot can only be voted on by residents of the Rosamond Community Service District, according to the Kern County Election Office, not just ratepayers. The board is open for everyone to run. That's why I'm telling you, you need to ask the candidates, are you a ratepayer? Okay? There's a list of directors in here that I put in here because I want to talk about OPM. A lot of people don't understand what OPM is. It's not a drug. It's other people's money, is what OPM stands for. And they're trying to use OPM, that is other people's money, to get their way. Since the people of the district gave the district the authority to manage parks, the district has gone into debt. $2.8 million for parks. The people authorized the parks, but on another ballot at the same time, the people were asked to pay for the parks through the increase of their county taxes, and the people voted no to paying for parks. Then the sitting directors, copy of the directors will be put up. who put the district in debt will be provided. Voted to put the district in debt to the tune of $2.8 million without paying down the debt. And the list of the directors are there. The present board has started paying down the $2.8 million debt, and we've made 2 payments, and the debt now stands at $2,651,305.47. Also in this, there is a parcel tax of $119 with a 3% rider. Doesn't sound like much. I have a chart here, and it shows that we start out at $119, and 25 years later it's $241.90 is what your taxes are going to increase to. And then the flyer talks about Rosamond at risk. The flyer makes it sound like developers don't pay taxes or fees. The developers got a hearty laugh at that one. The development fees just increased have helped the district to start to rebuild our reserve funds. Before the last developer fee increase, the district's reserves were depleted. That is, we had a space on the account sheet for them, but no money to fund them. Our general manager, Mr. Smith, and his staff have put the district on a pay-as-you-go process and cut the $100,000 bleeding per month of the district budget. The county property taxes we pay are divided up for the welfare of the people of Kern County. Speaking of taxes, do you know that you who pay taxes have paid into a county park fund that totals $4.5 million? This is the money that the Board of Supervisors uses to maintain county parks. Let's give the park back to the county. Then tell our supervisor to earmark some of the $450 million to keep our pool open. And then it talks about the consequences of losing Williford Park. Where's it going to go? We lost it. Where's it going to go? You know, the last time we gave the park back to the county, there's a picture on the back of here. If you look at it, got a chain link fence around the park. That didn't happen. The pool closed, but all the facilities are there for the public to use. We're not going to lose a park. It's going to be maintained by the county. Yes, the county will likely close the pool, but the park will still be there. The picture on the back of the flyer is just more misinformation. The county did not put up a fence around the park the last time to give it back to them. And then we come to the new park that's in here. There's a picture of the new park in here. I'm told from people that I talked to that attended the meetings that were held here that they kept asking what was the cost of this park. And what they told me was that it came away with a consensus that this park was going to cost $5 million to build. Okay? Ask the people of West Park if they think we need a new park. They will tell you that the district can't take care of the park we have. We have people, we have a couple of gentlemen that come to the meetings periodically, and they tell us all the different problems that we have with the park. And we can't maintain the park. We've got a great staff here. I'm not bad-mouthing the staff. Don't misunderstand that. We've got a great staff here. But we don't have enough staff to maintain the park. The people of West Park have been paying extra taxes for the Williford Park since they bought their property. And the whole community gets to use the park. Director Shingledecker and I ask you to vote no on Measure A. Thank you.
Comments from the public? Yes, sir.
Gary Van Dam, Director, District Number 7 for AVAC. And I'd just like to comment to the board. I'm a property owner here, and I own some apartments. A lot of my tenants are on fixed income, and I don't know how I'd raise the rent to them with the parcel tax increase. Any ideas?
Well, $99, you're going to pay $119 for one parcel. For one
So
apartment.
how do I pass that on to a fixed, on a apartment building, how do I pass that on to it?
That works out to about $3.33 if you have a triplex per person per month.
How much?
$3.33 per person per month. That's how much your triplex tenants will pay.
I don't think so.
Well, we do the math for you. You got a triplex, right?
Well,
You have one
well, I've got
apartment.
several pieces of
Well,
property.
let's just take the example of your triplex.
Okay.
It's got 3 apartments on it, right? But it's only 1 APN. So you'll pay $120, we say $119 per year. Divide the 120 by 12, that's $10 per month. Divide the 10 by 3 people who are chipping in for the $10. That's $3.33 per person that rents from you in those triplex. Now, if you have another parcel that has 16 people on the one parcel, there'll be much less than that. So it's very minimal as far as apartment use. It's unfair that they don't get to pay that much. Homeowners are going to pay $120 per year. You're basically what you're going to pay for your each unit should be closer to $40 per year. So you're getting a break.
We want to make sure we don't cross the line of advocating as much we both.
Exactly, Mr. Lancaster.
We can always, I'll have to meet with you afterwards, and
Well, I'm not just talking about just the apartment building. I'm talking about other property I own in Rosamond. And it's got a substantial increase also. And like Ed said, okay, I can't see, if you guys did a good job on the 2.6 or 2.8 million that you had before, then I could understand it. But showing what I know and what Ed said, it doesn't show where you guys done a very good job.
Well, the 2.6 million was long before our board was here. That happened in 2008.
Well, unfortunately, you get stuck with it. So now you're asking for more. Maybe we should take care of the old problems first.
Well, that's one way to take care of it.
Anything else, sir?
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to make a comment?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Hi, my name's Linda Bacon, and I've been a resident here
Can hear
since...
you.
Could you tilt the mic down?
There you go.
Yeah, is that better? My name's Linda Bacon, and I've been a resident here since '78. Watched this town grow, and right now it's not very good. And I don't agree with this tax, because I am on fixed income. So now you're putting another tax on top of me, and anybody who rents can vote yes, because it's nothing out of their pocket, it's all on mine. And people who own property. And then you add another 3% whenever you feel like it every year. Well, what happens to the ones on a fixed income? And we don't need another park, we need more police officers. I'd rather see you put the money to the cops than to do another park. Because if I stood there and asked you, as a renter, and you put a jungle gym in your yard, and I said, oh, everybody on the street voted, we all want jungle gyms. You paid for it on your taxes, and we can get it. You wouldn't like that. So I'm in the same spot. I'm a fixed income. And you're adding more taxes to me. So what makes it right for a park that we don't need? That's all it is.
Thank you very much. Anyone else like to make a comment? I believe Mr. Williford would like to say.
My name is Russ Williford. Jim Williford Park is named after my father. I've heard people that 30 years, 30-some years. I've been here since I was 8 years old, and believe me, that was a long time ago, 1959. When I came, there was one park, the county park on Glendower. And yeah, there's been some misinformation out there. There's a 3% escalator that can or cannot be. The board can vote not to put it into effect any particular year. The people in West Park, yes, they're paying. They're the only ones that are paying. It's $138.
No, close to 130.
What they call a CSA. It was supposed to be, take care of it, but that development was supposed to be a lot bigger. The recession hit. The county's going to take care of it. In the 50-plus years that I've been here, we've got very little from this side of the mountain. I went to the State of the County dinner, what, 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago, something like that. I heard about what Arvin got. I heard about what Wasco got. I heard about what Delano got. But I didn't hear anything about this side of the mountain, not for Rosamond. We're the little stepchild, because we're 3 miles from the county line. The kids in this town need someplace to exercise. Well, yeah, let me back up. It's not just the kids I try to take care of. I'm on the board of directors for Rosamond Hill Apartments, the low-income senior housing. We have 79 units. It's going to cost us too. And we'll have to figure out a way, because we're a nonprofit. There's 3 people that make money down there, the manager and the 2 maintenance guys. Nobody else. So my family's got a history in Rosamond of working for it. I can vote on this. I don't get any services. Somebody mentioned don't get any services. You're right. But yesterday I spent half the day digging up my septic tank so I could have it pumped again. I wish I had a sewer line in front of my house. I wish I had water, because every time Bryant comes out and I have to replace the pump, it's another $3,000. The kids need some activity. In his brochure, it talked about the United Street Park. That wasn't, it was almost basically a soccer field. It belonged to the school district. And they're going to start expanding. They're supposed to put in a United Street School. They told about how we lost the skate park. We didn't lose the skate park. They built the Rosamond Elementary School. They had to move all the district buildings and offices to where the skate park was at. That was on their property. I wish I could say more. There was no secret about it when I ran for this board. That was my main thing that I was after, was to try to get the park. 2.8 million, I think, was the figure that they're in the hole on that. That we didn't manage it good. We never had the money to manage it. And there's a lot of deferred maintenance. The last time the county had that, they filled that pool full of dirt and paved it over. Now, when I was growing up, there was, where the Country and Village Market was, that's where I learned to swim, or sort of. But every farmer around here had a reservoir. And we used to all swimming in reservoirs. I had a general manager, I asked him, where did he learn to swim? And he said, your dad's reservoir. Nobody has reservoirs anymore. You're all in sprinklers, aren't you? If you farm it at all. Price of water's putting them all out of business. We need that park. Thank you.
Anyone else?
I'm Deborah Lewis, and I have been here since 1992. My property tax have gone up quite a bit. All I say is, I would write the check for that amount, But my tax have gone up. I don't want nothing else on my tax. As a senior, and I talk to people. I talk to them because I go to 24-hour fitness. Many people go there. And everybody say, they don't want their tax going up. Even though it is what? They say $100. But $100 for some people is a lot of money. So happened I stayed on my job 45 years. So I could pay the $100. But that's a lot. To a lot of people, it's a lot of money. And to a lot of people, they don't want it on their tax. They say, come to my door, I might give you a little bit of money. But they don't want it on their tax. They're not here, but that's their opinion out there in the community. They don't want it on their tax.
Thank you. Anyone else? Mr. Glenn, will you speak?
I feel compelled to say something. I won't tell you how long I've lived in Rosamond. I wasn't born here. I was born in Montana. But I came here when I was just about able to walk. The problem is the logo on our logo, it has parks. When that was put there, the community said, you guys do some parks, but we're not going to pay for it. And while I've been on the board, I've been pushing to make a decision one way or the other. Do we have parks? Then fine, we need some funds. If we're not going to have parks, fine, then let's do away with parks. And this vote is going to do that. Finally, I've tried to get this vote for 6, 8 years for the community to vote on it. And we just keep kicking the can down the road. If you say no, then we will be getting out of the parks business. If you say yes, then we have to figure out what we're going to do in the way of developing parks. And that would be something that, if we do that, you should be really involved in how we're going to do that, not just the board. But we want the board wants the community to make this decision. Either we are going to have parks, or we're not in the parks business any longer. We're just water, sewer, graffiti, and streetlights. No longer parks. That's kind of where I think this vote is going to take us, and it's about time that we got there, one way or the other.
Thanks. Mr. Lansgard?
We can straight.
Good evening, Mr. President and fellow board members, members of the public. For those who don't know me, my name is Ronald Smith. I've been a resident of this community since 1968. I've had the privilege of attending Rosamond schools, being the beneficiary of Myron Glennon as the 8th grade basketball coach in the Glennon Gymnasium, something that was donated to our community from the Glennon family. Playing on Grace Field, football, something donated by Charles Alexander Graves' field, first postmaster Rosamond. And as Mr. Williford said, in the past 50 years, there hasn't been any changes from the Kern County. Kern County's not going to do anything to help our parks. When we were learning to swim, we learned how to swim over at the Thunderbird Mobile Home Park. Now that's filled in, it's paved over. We had people who stood up in the community. Mrs. Speed made sure that we had a place to go once. If we didn't have a place here, we were bussed down to Antelope Valley College and learned to swim there. There are other ways of dealing with things in our community to take care of that, but that was when we were a community of 3,000 people. We're a community of 20,000 people. If we want to have any control about where we go, this is the opportunity to do that. And it's painful. I agree. Property tax, that's what it said. There isn't any tougher word. Someone said, you're going to put that, and it kind of came up confusing. You're going to put put that on our water bill? We don't need anything more on our water bill. No, it's not going on your water bill. It's like the two hardest words to say, property tax. There's no sugarcoating. That's what the measure is. It says property tax. And we're gonna have to buckle up sometime and take responsibility for the direction of our community, and this is a chance to do that. Myself personally, I do pay $500 a month sometime in the summer for my water here in the community, with the Community Services District. The property tax that would get voted on there, myself personally, is gonna cost me more than $1,000 a year. With vacant parcels and with the parcel properties that have a structure on it, easily $1,000 a year for me personally. And I'm willing to take that burden because I know that's the only way we're gonna get ahead. And I don't think there's anybody else up on this board that's gonna pay $1,000 a year if this property tax passes. Nobody even comes close to that. But I'm taking that, that's why I put my neck out for that, and I'm gonna continue to do that. I'm doing that knowing that most people are not happy with that in my own family because they have a lot of parcels, and they're gonna pay a lot of parcel property tax, even more than I'm gonna pay if this passes. So I understand that the opposition coming from that direction. But to stand up here and say that outsiders are supporting this Measure A, that's ridiculous. Look at your Measure A package. Look who voted, what people in the community took the effort to say, don't vote Measure A. There's not a single person on that don't vote Measure A. There are people like Russ Williford. There are people like Sergeant James Anton who said, please vote yes for Measure A. I talked to Sergeant Anton. He lives here in our community. And it's nice to have law enforcement that actually lives in our community. And he says, I care about our community, and the one thing I don't want Kern County in charge of our parks. I know what's happened with our deputies. I know that instead of having, and he can't say this publicly, instead of having the 15 officers that are supposed to be here, we have like 8. That's when Kern County's in charge. If you want services that are constantly being cut, I think we call that Maven's litter box when Don Maven went ahead and filled in the pool there with sand. You want our pools filled with sand, and eventually they're going to have to cover that, they pave that over and keep it that way permanently because the structure won't come back. Then yeah, go ahead and vote no on Measure A. You have that opportunity. The hardest part, the hardest thing you ever do is to sit there at that thing and say, do I really want to vote yes on tax? I can't see that being anything more difficult than voting yes on a tax. And I'm here to ask you to go ahead and take that difficult step and vote yes on the tax, on the property tax. It's something that's going to secure, not just for you, for the few years we're here. I know you guys are maybe not as old as me, some of us, but the fact is if we're going to make a difference, now's the time to make the difference. If we're going to wait another, maybe you don't know the history. I know you've been here since 1992. In 1990, there was a measure on the ballot to put a pool in the Rosamond, and that got 62% of the vote. We also had a measure on there to put a performing arts center in Rosamond, and that got over 50% of the vote. But it took 2/3, and that was for the school to build it, and just barely did not make it. For a property tax to go forward at this time is going to be very difficult, and I'd be very proud of you if you were to suck it up and say, yes, I'm going to vote yes on that. And we'll see where we're at the end of the day when the dust clears. If we get 67%, that would be quite an accomplishment. That would show a lot of confidence in the community in itself. Quite frankly, I don't anticipate that. There's been a lot of opposition, a lot of things that are not exactly true. They're out there, in Rosamond News, for example, they're advertising the newspaper, putting in a false light, if you ask me. In my opinion, those things, just to say that we just haven't been managing our own parks right, well, you need to look at what we have been doing here in the last couple of years under new management. And what we have been doing is we balanced the budget. What we have been doing is what we never had the United Street Park to manage, but to the credit of the past boards, the board members, they built the United Street Park. That park would never have been there. The generation of kids that grew up playing soccer on that park would never have the opportunity to do that if not for the Rosamond Community Services District sticking their neck out and doing that. And when we realized that we were not in condition with 14 employees to maintain that park, we wisely gave it back to the school district, and they've been maintaining it very well ever since. And we still have that asset in the community. at some point in time, you have to figure out whether we're gonna move forward with not only youth programs, but adult programs and elder programs that are in this community right now, that won't be in this community until we take action. And the only way we can do that is we have a funding stream. And the only way we're gonna have a funding stream is we figure out a way how to tax ourselves. I think property tax is still two ugliest words in the dictionary, but we have to deal with it. And I appreciate it if you take another look at that and maybe go, yes, on this rate. Thanks.
Thank you. Any other comments? Yes, sir.
I've been staying out here since 2005, and when I first moved out here, it was low crime. It was.
Can you speak up? I'm sorry.
Yeah, get the mic. There you go, sir.
So when I first moved out here, it was no crime and no shootings and all this stuff. But now, and I'm hearing now about the property taxes and this, which I already knew that. That's just ridiculous. People that's on fixed income, I'm on a fixed income. Like $700 a month, you know. And when I came, it was to the point where I was just paying. I mean, we had a competition, you don't remember. I was paying my past due. So you went on the computer and looked on the computer and said, well, you always pay your past, always pay the past due, and then you was actually very rude to me. Even the lady for saying that I should report you and this, that, and other. Then I found out you was Ed's friend, so I just left it all alone. And now I'm in too much no more. Just worry before you got the glass and all that. You know. And we had a shooting in Albertson last night, and 4 of my friends, the Mexicans and blacks, are shooting at each other. And nobody is trying to stop it, it seems like, you know. I'm hearing that you guys only got 8 police. But we got killings that's going on now. I don't even like to go on the other side, you know, I'm from West Park, and I don't like to go on the other side. Because it's drugs, it's shootings. Every time my son come back, he showed me pictures of people in the hospital that he went to school with. And what we need is something for the kids, and what's happening is the rich get rich and the poor is get more poor. And they constantly, you know, putting stuff on the community, adding more taxes and more tax for this, that, and it really don't make no sense. You know what I'm saying? We can't even take care of our own people in this city. And I was shocked last night when I found out that Albertson got robbed, and I was just in there, you know. After church, I went to Albertson, I was there, you know, went on, and I finally got robbed that night. And I could have got shot, you know. Anybody could have got shot, you know. And it's going on constantly. And with the kids, we don't have little areas that the kids can go to. And a lot of people, like I'm coaching the football league ever since my son was 7 until he graduated. And now we don't have things for the kids to do. So all the kids is, you know, smoking drugs early. They're just doing all kind of scandalous stuff because a lot of parents can't afford to put their kids in the youth league. I mean, I was blessed to be able to afford to, you know, to do that for my kid, but the kids that don't get none of the trouble, we have no program for the kids to keep them out of trouble. And we don't have people watching the kids, you know. When I coached, I was like the father to all the kids, you know. That's why all the kids know me, because they call me Coach Fon. And I coached football and basketball since my son was a toddler. You know, Diane asked me to do it, and I fell in love with it. But a lot of kids that don't, parents that don't have the income to put them in the sports and stuff, to have them doing something positive, it'd be nice if we had some type of fund to help out the poor, so, you know, so they can't be getting in all this drama and all this trouble. And it's getting worse and worse in this town. Like I said, 2005, it wasn't no shit. I moved from Santa Clarita out here. I stayed in Santa Clarita over 20 years. But when I moved out here, it was nice. And I'm like, oh man, it's nice. It's like, you know, you can leave your bikes outside, you know. It was just beautiful out here, you know, as far as, you know, with no drama. But now this is turning into South Central LA. Only because they build apartment complex, they take the money and build apartment complex, and they move all the people from Watts and all, and people that still just gangbang and active, they bring them out here, and they're out here. And we gotta try to figure out how we're gonna stop this as a
Sir.
group.
Oh, your time's almost up.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Can I say one thing that's not for or against Measure A, but sometimes people, when it comes to our water rates or comes to anything like that, okay, your water rates don't pay for the park, and also none of our fees go to the sheriff's department. We have no, this is not a city, it's a community services district, so you might need more deputies, but not $1 that comes to the RCSD goes along, that's all Kern County. Just as if you had a pothole and the street needs to be fixed, that's Kern County. If you have, you know, all that is Kern County, so it's not, sometimes they think we are, but it's not.
To tag on to that, that goes, even the conditions of the parks, we do have county parks here. If you have a complaint about it, call the supervisor. The more calls you get, your votes. If you don't call them and let them know your disappointment in it, the more they calls they get, the more they listen. And I'm gonna go, any other public comments? One thing I'll close out with, the Measure A, whether you're for it or against it, one thing you remember, this board works for you. Everybody on this board. If you say, if the community says no to the parks, then the board follows your direction. If you say yes to it, you follow that. Whether a board member has an opinion, yes or no for the parks, you tell us what you want. If no one else has any other comments, we will adjourn at 8:08.